Yo, Pops Van Zant here. The Madness Comic Network is evolving into the Madness Roku Network. We're taking our stuff to Roku. We're joining great channels like the American Horrors channel. We're taking our stuff over there, guys. We love it over there. You're going to love what we bring you. We got some great shows, all kinds of different stuff. Come join the madness, yo. Madness Roku Network right here.
Fairview's coffee has mysteriously gone missing. Mayhem ensues when strange, coffee-craving zombies plague the city. Detective Mickey Potatoes, an overworked public servant, uncovers why ordinary citizens are losing their minds and how to stop the coffee apocalypse. But it involves the mafia. And when you're dealing with mafia crime families, nothing is ever easy. The mafia controls everything in the city, including the police, including him. If he breaks the mafia, they will break him. So, the city is without coffee. The city is burning before his very eyes, but he's powerless. Detective Potatoes has the power to stop the coffee apocalypse, but if he does, he could lose everything.
Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Huh? So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Alright, boys and girls. This is Ron from RomoArt, also from Sector 7. Alright, take two. Nope. right. We are back. Let me turn my volume up here. Okay, I got you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
All right, buddy. Yeah, you're good. You're good. So, welcome to RomoArt. We have a special guest that I just recently met, and I really wanted to get to know him because I checked him out on Twitter, and then I saw that he had a YouTube channel called John's Longbox, and he's crushing it right now with these
Thank
interviews. He's guys, if check it out, John's Longbox on YouTube. He's doing really good right now. He's getting some big names. I had, like you said, you just did one with Ethan. I had just finished watching that one. And,
he was so good, wasn't he?
Oh, he's great.
He's so charming.
Like, he's a very charming dude. I remember collecting Cyberfrog back in like '97.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I still have like a black and I have a black and white one, and it was oh god, I still have it. It's gorgeous.
I just picked up the I'm like leaning the wrong way. I just picked up the Cyberfrogs from Harris Comics and Hall of Heroes. They're excellent. You know, I back then I was super broke, so they just went by and I didn't see them. You know, I was finishing up college and entering the workforce. I didn't have any money, so I just missed them. But you know, now I picked them up and I made a video on one of them. I thought they were a lot of fun. You know.
Yeah, no, his book. I mean, I would say he's got one of the top colorists like in the industry. His colors are, and it's weird because you can do colors that kind of hurt your eyes. His colors are vibrant, but they're just toned down enough to where they're not like, oh my god, it's too much. You know?
Yeah, I'm picky about colors. You know, I'm old school. So I what is it called? Flat colors. The way colors used to be. Get off my lawn. You know, but you know, I agree with you. Kyle Ritter is outstanding. And he works with Ethan. You know, that super detailed artwork with really super detailed coloring. It really
he can render, because I mean, Ethan obviously, you know, his lines are minute, and I mean, he can really render around the line work and not overpower the line work, which is really tough to do. And another one I watched was with Frankie B. Washington.
Isn't he a great guy,
dude? Like I have him on
Isn't
Monday.
He fun?
I've actually got Frankie on Monday.
Good. Tell him I said hello.
I just want him to sit next to me all the time.
Right.
He's so happy. He's unbelievably happy.
Right.
I'm like, wow.
I think I said that. I said I never met a guy with he's always smiling.
Always smiling. Yeah. Always just loving it. I'm like, man, if I had 10% of that, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, even when he's talking about a serious topic, he still like finishes a sentence with a smile. Yeah. It was a pleasure to talk to. I have to say, if I could toot my own horn.
No, please.
I've been like amazed at all these people who've been coming on, because my channel's still small. I still have less than 1,000 people. You know, I'm not even monetized or anything. And I just went going out of the way asking people, and he came on. Frankie came on, and now it's like they're friends of mine. You know, like I check them out. I want to get their. What's that?
Oh, we're both cutting out. Oh, we're back. I think you're frozen.
Okay. Oh, okay, I froze. I'm sorry.
Now I got you. Go ahead.
I was saying, like, you know, after I talk to these people, I don't know if I'm being delusional or whatever, but I'm like, I'm friends with them now. You know, I'm friends with Ethan now. Yeah. I'm friends with Frankie now. You know.
Yeah.
I check up on them. I send people messages. I just get a kick out of, like, you know, the very first person that was not a personal friend of mine was Brian Bow of the Wolf and Batsy comic. You know, and I talk to him like every day. You know, this channel, I made it to talk comics with friends, and now I think I've made friends, so I'm successful whether or not I get another subscriber or not. You know,
right. Yeah. How long have you had the channel?
3 years.
3 years. Okay.
Yeah, for 3 years. It started out of like COVID. My wife and I were living in Queens, and she was working at home because of COVID, and you know, I was coming home, and we lived in a small apartment in Queens, and I would come home and be quiet, you know, because she was working, and I you know, I'm a construction worker. I was working on the bridge, so you work no breaks. They're not going to shut down the bridge so I can have lunch. So you just work a compressed day. You go home, and then I would have to be quiet, and, you know. So people weren't going out. It was just getting miserable. And then the final straw was my favorite Chinese restaurant closed. You know, I lived in Flushing, which is famous for Chinese restaurants.
We had one too. They stopped doing the buffet. I was like, you son of a bitch.
So when this Chinese restaurant closed, me and my wife, we got in the car, we drove, because we're like, it's got to be an accident. There's got to be a problem. You know, and we looked at, we sitting there in the car in front of the Chinese, like with tears in our eyes, and I just said, we're moving. It's time to move. And then I moved. I joked that this is the country, but the other day there was a deer on my front yard. So what do I know?
Nice.
And
hi, Caitlin. How you doing, honey?
Oh, I'm sorry. I talked too much. Yeah.
Oh, no, buddy, you're fine. You're probably used to doing the interview. You talk all you want. Now, this is,
Well, that's one thing I'm getting better at is letting other people talk. When I first, I'll get into that. But so anyway, I wanted to talk to people about comic books, but I didn't know anybody in my new area. Yeah. So I just said, all right, I'm going to start a YouTube channel and I'll talk to nobody. And I got to say, for about a year, I started to get frustrated. I'm like, nobody's here, nobody, and I was going to close. I remember I had 86 subscribers for like 9 months. And I'm pretty sure that half of them were probably bots or something, because nobody interacted with me. And then a few hardcore guys like Jeff and Warduke. I got a shout out Bucky749. He has a YouTube channel. These guys just started. It was like us 5 guys just talking. And then my big break is RJ of the Fourth Age. Are you familiar with that channel at all? Oh God, I think okay. I'm going to say it sounds familiar. It sounds RJ of the Fourth Age. He's doing the Tom Valiant comics and the Valiant Heroes and Crom the Destroyer. And yes, okay, yep. So he was doing live, and I just went on live, and I watched his video, I subscribed, and I just started commenting. And he asked about comic collections. I said I got 53,000 comics. I heard on an interview 53,000 comics. Yeah, and so he came on my channel and started requesting, and I had all the comics that he was requesting. So he wanted to do live chat. So he pulled me on his channel, and I did my first live chat. And that started the whole thing. I'm like, oh, this is fun. I want to talk to people about comics, so why not do live chats? So I just started inviting people, and I figured, you don't get what you don't ask for, right? So I just started asking people way out of my league, way out of my league. I got no problems admitting that. And then people just started responding once, and then a few people, I guess they liked what they saw. I don't know. But I don't know. I mean, you're very genuine. You're very genuine. And I could feel that immediately. I'm like, and that's why I reached out to you. Like, it was like 5 seconds of just looking at your YouTube. I'm like, I like this guy. And I'm just going to, and I'm not anybody, honey, somebody likes me. Yeah. You had mentioned, because you kind of did your YouTube the same way I started with doing Sector 7 back in March. So back in March is when I came on the scene. I'm 47 years old. Back in March, me and the co-creator and writer, Matt Boyce, were launching Sector 7, and I didn't have anything. I didn't have a Twitter. My son's like 5 years old. Since he was born, I've been on Facebook 3 times. So I have no social media presence whatsoever. I have nothing. And I did the same thing you did. I was like, fuck it. I don't know anybody, so I'll just text everybody. Right. Anyone who had a little envelope, any of the big guys, I didn't care. I'm like, the worst they can say is no, and I've got to do this. And I will tell you, you said something in an interview, I think it was with Ethan. You said all the Comicsgate people have been very, very nice to you. Yes. And I have said those exact same words many times to people. Right. Like they've always been bad people have been nothing but pleasant and wonderful. They've always been like generous with their time. There's one Comicsgater, Rob Hunter, who does Death Raider. He's given me so much time, so much information, and private messages. Yeah. And these people owe me nothing. Yeah. And even Graham Nolan tweeted out like a shout to Inside Sector 7, or a shout to the comic book Sector 7. Oh, cool. The Twitter page was at Inside Sector 7. That's the Twitter page. Graham Nolan's what a talent. This guy's having a renaissance in his career right now. Dude, oh my God. I've been asking him to come on the channel, and look at his pics. Just muscles and cigars. Like what else? I know. He doesn't live too far from me, and I hope I don't accidentally bump into him in a bar and start a fight. No, I've actually been. That's a comic book guy I wouldn't want to fight. No way. Oh, I know. I've actually been to his. Yeah, I've actually been to his studio like back in the late '90s. Oh yeah. I live right between Buffalo and Rochester, little city town called Batavia, and there used to be a Warner Brothers store in the Buffalo Galleria. Okay, so
Graham used to go there, and the curator of the artwork in the Warner Brothers store got to know Graham. I knew the curator. So he invited me, he invited my friend and me to his studio. It was really cool. I got to see where he does his stuff. And I swear, I'm pretty sure I think it's the same studio to this day. Okay. I know he's in the same area. It wasn't too long of a drive. And that was really cool. And I had gotten, when I was trying to advertise Sector 7, I'm like, I found I found like at least an email that works for him. And I was like, I know you're not going to remember this, but I was actually at your studio back in the 90s. I'm doing my own book now. I will send you whatever you need to see. And if you like it, if you could give me a shout out, that'd be really great. Oh, and good. He answered me the next day. And I was like, holy shit, like Graham Nolan answered me in a day. Like, that's crazy. Yeah, well,
and who am I that Ethan Van Sciver, he lost money coming on my channel. He could have went live on his own channel. You know what I mean?
I know.
So, and like, I shouldn't be telling this story with my wife in the room, but like in college, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to ask out the hottest girls I know. And if they say yes, then I got, and then if they say no, so I got the same thing going here. I'm going to ask big comic book talents, if they say yes, they say yes. If they say no, they say no.
Yeah.
And if I may toot my own horn, I got Eric July next Wednesday. Due to work reasons, I try to limit my live chats on my channel to Wednesdays because of overtime and everything like that. And then the following Wednesday, I have Terry Moore of Strangers in Paradise. Like, I don't know. The stars are aligning over here, and I can't complain.
Yeah,
I got John McCrae from Hitman. One of my favorite comics of all time.
Nice. Yeah. I've actually got, I was actually really lucky to get Chuck Dixon on the 18th.
Yeah. Oh, Chuck Dixon is awesome, isn't he?
Yeah. I think that's where I met you. I think you said congratulations or something on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
I think yes. And I was like, well, who's this guy? And I went to your page. So
yeah, it's funny because after talking to Chuck Dixon, I feel like he's such a regular guy. He's so pleasant, and and if you watch that video, the first 5 minutes, I'm starstruck, and I'm stumbling, and I'm going and then he calmed me down, and we talked, for like an hour and a half, and then turned the camera off. We still talked. He messaged me the next day. What a great, like I feel like I'm like, Chuck's my friend now, I feel like a stalker or something like that,
My friend Chuck, yeah.
Call up Chuck. Awesome. Hey, Chuck, remember it's me, John?
Yeah.
But he was great.
I'm not ashamed to admit, I'm a bit nervous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These are like, starting right now is my first group of big interviews. I've only had a YouTube channel for, I don't know, maybe a couple months. You know what I mean? And I'm part of a network, the Madness Network, and it's really helped me a lot. And I only started.
I'm by myself, and it took me 3 years before I started having live chats.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping I'm not, kind of reaching my peak in the next 2 weeks, and then it's going to be a year before I get someone else. But it does, like, I literally started the channel just because I needed a way to sell the comic, and I jumped kind of headfirst into the indie world, not realizing that it's actually a very backwards world in terms of marketing, where if you want your book to sell, unlike the old days where you would see it, on a rack or in a pile of new books on that table at the comic shop, and if it was good, it would make your name. Now it's like in the indie world, if you want your book to sell, you it's pretty important to have a name first.
Yeah.
And then the product. It's very backwards, And
it's kind of rough because there's a lot of writers and artists that don't want to self-promote. They're not comfortable in front of a camera. They're not comfortable talking.
I'm not comfortable in front of a camera.
You're doing fine.
I'm a true introvert. Like, anything I care about is under this roof. That's it. You know what I mean?
I don't want to leave my house either.
It's definitely. Yeah. No. Chuck, let's us play his shows on the network. Oh yeah. Chuck is part of the Madness Network. So yeah, so the producer, Pops Van Zant, helped me get Chuck, and that's just the good part of belonging to a larger network. You know what I mean? Like Pops has really helped me out a lot, and it's important because the promoting is the hardest part of selling the comic book. And having a schedule like Monday and Friday forces me to do the videos.
Yeah.
Where before I would maybe film one if I felt like it, and then I'd load it 4 days later. And Brittany's like, "You got to get it out there." I'm like,
yeah, that's one thing I force myself to do, whether I'm in the mood or not. Is I try. I say 10 minutes, but it's never 10 minutes because I talk too much. But I try to do 1 10-minute video a day. And what I do is like I'll take comics that I like. There's enough negativity and meanness on the, and I don't want to be mean. So I take a comic that I like, and then I talk about the comic, why I like it, personal stories about it, whatever, and then upload it. And sometimes like I'll record a week's worth on a Sunday. Because let's face it, sometimes I'm working overtime. I don't feel personable or whatever, and I just force myself to stick to a schedule.
Yeah,
and then next thing you know, I was like Sundays. I think Sundays, I'll do Sunday comics, or at 10 o'clock every Sunday, I'll do like an hour live, and I'll ask people what topics. So that'll be like a long com. And then Wednesdays I do live chats. That's my channel. But like you said, you got to do it every. Because I started with your boy Zach. That was his thing. He says, I trust him. That guy was successful. Diversity.
Yeah. Yep.
He says that
1 second.
The YouTube algorithm rewards 1 10-minute video a day. So I was like, all right, that's my model.
Really?
That's what he said. And look at that guy. That guy's,
Okay.
Right,
give me just 1 second. Brittany, my producer, has to tell me something.
Oh, I'm sorry. Like I said,
you're fine. You're
I'll
fine.
take this opportunity to eat my burrito.
Okay.
So, okay, I'm on. All right, I thought he was going to mute me. So, Madness Comic Network. We got Brittany in the chat. Caitlin LeClaire. Hello, everybody. Thank you.
All right. So
Thank you.
Speaking of Pops. All right. He's the creator of the Madness Network. Hey, Matt. That's Matt Boyce. That's the co-creator of Sector 7. That's my best friend. He lives like 3 blocks away.
I don't mean to be rude or mean or anything, but I don't know.
No, it's okay.
I've never heard of it before.
I actually, before I do that, Pop sent me. He wants me to read an announcement. Announcement from Pops. Talk to the team. We are adding a referral program. If you bring a friend show to the platform, we will give you a 3-month video ad for free on the platform. So it's a referral program. If you bring someone in, we'll give you a 3-month video ad for free on the platform. So, all right. There you go. That's for Pops. That's for the Madness Network.
Okay.
What we're doing is right now we're on Kickstarter and we're trying to raise enough funds to get on Roku.
Okay.
Yeah. So cool. That's going to be a big deal. That's going to be really cool if we can make that happen. Sector 7. Well, let me give you 2 stories. One story is right now we didn't get it funded. Now the reason why we didn't get it funded was because we're too new. And like I said, we just started in March, right? I told Matt, it's something that we've had for years and life gets in the way. We have kids, we have wives, we have divorces, we have whatever's going on. You know what I mean? And
not you and Brittany, she seems nice.
No. Me and Brittany aren't going anywhere.
Okay.
It's me and Brittany or it's nothing. I'm done. That's it. She's my girl. There you go. So I told Matt, I had some financial stuff come up and I'm like, buddy, listen, I'm going to take this book and I'm going to start. I know you're going through some shit. It's okay. Just be there if we need an interview. He's like, okay, buddy, go ahead. So I started launching Sector 7. I had a lot of the artwork done already. I had a lot of the artwork done already.
You're the artist?
I'm the artist and co-creator. Yeah.
Okay.
And Matt is the writer and he's the one that created the original kaiju named Nagara. So do you have any pictures you can put up of?
Yes.
Okay. I'll keep talking.
What is the comic about?
So the comic is about, let me see. It's been a while since I pitched this. So
yeah, sell me. I'll get my cigar over here. Come on, kid.
All right. It's going to be the elevator pitch if the elevator is very slow.
Okay.
So we got
an escalator pitch.
Yeah, an escalator pitch. Yeah. So starts off the first 5 pages. It starts off the night of the moon landing. All right. And what happens is, as what's his face? I forget the quote unquote actor's name who stepped on the moon, which I don't think ever happened. Once they stepped on the moon, he's looking back at Earth, and Russia was pretty upset that they lost the space race. There we go.
You drew that?
Yeah, that's some artwork for Sector 7. Okay, so basically, our winning the moon race kicked off a nuclear Armageddon. So the entire northern hemisphere was decimated on that night, and everyone left, had to group together. No governments, no nothing, just men and women and kids, whoever's left. Everyone's below what Matt nicknamed, which I love, the veil. The veil is the nuclear demarcation line.
Okay.
So everyone's now living in small colonies in the southern hemisphere. Now, so it's a post-apocalyptic book. Our difference from other post-apocalyptic books is after this tragedy, all the sciences that have been kept secret in government labs and Tesla type technology, that's all allowed to be out now. There are scientists that have grouped together under one of the main characters, Professor Solomon Brand, and created a utopia. So the southern hemisphere is a mixture of like retro fitted cars. Like you'll see like a 1950s Oldsmobile, but it'll have hover tires on it.
Okay.
You know, so it's a really cool, it's a really awesome. I tried to be as unique as I possibly could. And the people walking around, you'll see clothing from different generations, from the 20s, 30s, 40s, basically up until nuclear devastation.
Okay.
You know,
is it superheroes or is it?
No, it's kaiju. It's kaiju.
Okay.
So what's going on is, before I get to the kaiju part, so this is what me and Matt really tried to focus on. And the reason why I'm not bringing up the kaiju first is because the kaiju, there's Nagara.
Is that your art?
That's my art.
That's good.
Thank you, buddy.
I really like the colors.
Matt Yackey colored it.
Who colored it?
Matt Yackey.
Oh, cool.
He's an industry veteran. The guy is amazing.
Yeah, good job.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, so that's Nagara, and then that is Primrose.
That's a unique design for a kaiju, you know. I
yeah,
like
well, that's me. Like, I really wanted something unique. I mean, I'm talking about American kaiju books. For the most part, they're usually very generic kaiju, and when you open the book, it's nothing but them stepping on buildings and fighting, and then the people are just in the background, you know, and they're not even drawn well sometimes. That's a lot of American kaiju books. And me and Matt, we wanted to make a kaiju story, but we wanted to do something different to where it's the humans that are centered in the story. And so there's character arcs, there's intrigue, political intrigue. So with this society, there's life extension. There's very little worry or concern. It's a true utopia.
Okay.
The problem is, when people are happy, they're having babies. There's life extension, so they're living longer. There's people alive now that were actually alive in World War II. All right, so there's part of the council has a legitimate concern that we are going to run out of resources if this keeps going on. And then the other part of the council is like, just why do you have to be negative? We're doing well. We're happy. We survived. So that's where the point of friction comes from. Okay. And
so like two political parties.
Two political parties, and one is very militaristic, but they have a point. You know what I mean? You only have half the world resources to work with now. So they feel it's not a matter of if we run out, it's a matter of when. And when that happens, what colony is going to attack first?
Okay.
And there's no military, there's only basic security forces because, again, it's a utopia. So the military political faction sets out to...
I'm digging your art, man. I like it.
Thank you. Sets out to go up into the Veil, which they usually do to get supplies and some whatever mineral scraps, and then bring it back down to the southern hemisphere. Well, this guy's been sending people out to look for a special Nazi base And as we all know, Nazis were very experimentative during World War II. And that's where the kaijus come in.
Okay.
So they're looking for an old project that was being experimented with before the Nazis lost. And they end up finding these kaijus still, like cryogenically frozen in gigantic tanks. So they are going to be the new weapons of war.
Okay.
All right.
High concept.
It's a really good. I mean, it was.
And is this like a comic book series, or is it a one graphic novel? Or
no, it was actually going to be 4 books, but the books are like 36 pages each.
Okay.
And the last book I wanted to do, like double size, so maybe like 60 pages. Okay. Oh. I also wanted to do an oversized print, so it's like an IMAX experience for comic books.
Yeah, cool. Kaiju size.
I really wanted to do that. But we didn't have time to make the audience. We just didn't. Yeah. Everyone that saw the book loved the book.
Yeah, well, the art's good.
Yeah, I mean, everyone that saw it loved it. It's not the book. It's just that. So Sector 7, unfortunately, did not fund, but it's not going anywhere. I'm still doing this. Me and Matt have our own show on Mondays, Matt, Man, and Romo.
Yeah, you got to network a little, yeah. Yeah,
so we're just gonna put it out again, and it's whether it's a month from now or 6 months, it doesn't matter. Like
is it done?
No, it's not done. I've got like half the first issue done.
Okay.
Because right now, while I was waiting for Sector 7 to fund, I got picked up by Chris Faction, and he created Nano 13, which is a sci-fi book.
Okay.
And I've been working for Chris drawing those pages. And since Sector 7 didn't fund, I'm just doing Nano 13. I'll probably be finished.
Experience, get some pay, Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, dude, that's how I'm paying rent right now. That's how I'm paying rent right now is through Chris.
Okay. I just assumed, like everybody else, you had a day job of refrigerator repairman, and then at night you're a comic book guy. That's so good for you.
No, I do definitely have a day job, but my day job, I don't bring home much money. I'm at my day job so that in the end of 2024, I can take over the business.
Oh, good for you.
Okay, so I'm setting myself up for the future with a halfway decent, at least an income to have a base of. Okay. Until then, we're just floating by like everybody else. I'm paying rent with some artwork, and if something comes up, like this summer, I had a pinched nerve in my hand and I couldn't draw for a couple of weeks, and Chris's bank account just got frauded, so his bank account got emptied. So there's 2 weeks gone right there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, shit happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I know how hot it is.
Yeah.
I'm a construction worker at the airport, and I passed out at work today from heat.
You told me what, dude.
My buddy was just hot. I was sweating, and I was drinking a lot of water, and he was joking with me, and I looked up at him, and I just was leaning on a machine, and he thought I was joking, so he started laughing, and then he just realized, my foreman drove me home. Everybody was so. I'm more embarrassed, that I fainted. Yeah. I didn't even realize it. Like they put me in air conditioning, and I'm just sitting there going, yeah, like all of a sudden there was tunnel vision, and then I felt like somebody was closing my eyes, and he's like, you fainted. I'm like, no, I didn't faint, because you're crazy. You know what I mean?
You don't know that you fainted. When you faint, you don't know you fainted.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, the room we were in, it was like Batman, and the 40, and then I'm like, yeah, I think I fainted. And that was my day.
Word with him after the show.
Okay. Yeah, that's freaking.
Yeah,
that's intense.
My wife, I came home early. She's like, ah!
Oh yeah. Dude,
yeah, I'm fine now. I got air conditioning down here. I'm fine now. Oh, and our air conditioner broke upstairs, so we're camping out down here in the basement.
Unbelievable, dude.
I told you, I had a worst week. Like
that's horrible.
I had Matt Bear on Wednesday night, and I was furious because, long story short, there was a fire in the train station, and I sat on the train for hours. The air conditioner was off. I came home, and I'm like, I can't cancel. You make a deal with somebody. You make a deal with somebody.
You make a deal.
And
I know.
Had me laughing. By the end of the night, I was like, this guy's great. I'm a best friend. You know what I mean? So, that's what I said. Comics Gate has been the best bunch of people, helpful. wonderful people,
Yeah.
And I said it with EVS the other day. Like you go on Twitter and all of these comics broke people, they're the mainstream. They're miserable.
Yep.
They're complaining about their editors not paying them. They're complaining about their coworkers refusing to pay them, and they can't pay bills. And then all the commentator guys are like, "Hey, you okay? You want to come out? Matt Bear said he would help me with some logos for something that I'm working.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's so
that's
nice,
awesome.
Brian Bow has just been helpful with I'm writing a comic script too. Surprise, so he's been giving me some good pointers. Excellent. RJ.
Well, just so you know, I'll be done, and so everybody knows, I'll probably be done with Nano 13 around October, November. So I will be looking for another book to jump onto while he puts that into post-production, into coloring, and I might be lettering it. I'm not sure.
You letter too?
I can. It's not something like I have a program. I can do it. I have done it before. I would just have to kind of relearn everything.
Yeah.
It's the toughest part with having to draw is that for every hour I take off to learn something is an hour I'm not drawing, and that's how I pay rent. You know what I mean? It's always a trade-off.
You've been drawing since you were a kid?
Yeah, I was one of those.
I assume, like everybody, you were devouring comics as a kid?
I tell you what, not as a kid. As a kid, I devoured toys and cartoons.
Okay.
I didn't get my first comic until, let me see, because this memory's fucking burned into my head. Like 7th grade.
What comic?
I'll tell you. Okay. It's a whole build.
I'm excited. Forgive me.
So I'm helping my dad in the backyard move a picnic bench, and my friend Ryan comes out, and he's like, "Ron, I just got this comic book. I got this. It's a thin graphic novel. This guy is awesome. He can't be killed. He's got claws." And I'm like, it was Frank Miller's 4-issue Wolverine.
Okay. Yeah.
And right there.
Yeah.
I was done.
That's a good one to start with.
It was over. I started copying everying, and now I kind of knew
paper on top of your comics and draw. I did stuff like that.
At that point, I've always been able to look and just photo, like pretty much I can just look at something and do a photorealistic rendering of it.
That's cool.
Now
I can't draw it in my life, but I tried.
I have used light boxes, and I will use a light box, but that's just to save time. I wouldn't use the light box if I was getting paid until I knew that I could do it without the light box.
Okay.
I don't like cheating. You know what I mean? Yeah. So once I knew that I could do it without the light box and it looked like a black and white photo, I'm like, okay, now I know I can do it. So now I got to save time because now it's about money, But it was a lot like Frankie B was saying, like at some point, like with advertising, it just needs to be passable. It just needs to be good enough because time is money. And that's the business part of the business, What was your, before I ask you this question, if you could just stay with us after the show for a few minutes, Pops just wants to say hi.
Okay.
Is that, okay. What was
more
your
people to talk to? That's what it's all
dude,
about. Right?
You're gonna love Pops because you. Oh, it's you. Okay. Well, it's Brittany. Is Pops gonna be there? Or is he not feeling good?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, at least it's Brittany. So, now the one thing I noticed about you, and Pops is the same. So if you ever meet Pops, you're gonna love him. You are like old school collector. You are a freaking wealth of comic book knowledge.
Much to my wallet's chagrin, yes.
I know. No, I get it, but there's not a lot of like. I remember you telling the story to Ethan where you were in a Marvel meeting because you were fixing the electricity.
Yes,
The freaking editors were getting everything wrong.
I was biting my tongue and and I'm not used to that. You'll ask my wife. I speak my mind to everybody, but the shop that I was working for, they weren't doing too well, and they would get rid of you in a heartbeat. And I had just got married, and I was like, and I just got my A card, meaning I was no longer an apprentice electrician. And at that time, if you got laid off, you're out of work for 11 months. And I'm on the ladder going, I don't want to mention the editor's name.
Yeah.
Is me telling him that he's wrong worth 11 months out of work?
No.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think at that moment in my life, I went from a kid to an adult, because 4 months earlier, I would have got off that ladder and be like, you have no business working for Marvel Comics. Who do you think you are? Get away from Captain America. How dare you? You know what I mean? But have you ever seen Annie Hall, the Woody Allen movie, Annie Hall?
No, I've actually never seen a Woody Allen movie.
There's a scene in Woody Allen when they're online, and there's a guy in front of him talking about Marshall McLuhan. He's like, Marshall McLuhan missed the point, and blah, 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 blah. And Woody Allen is just going to die and keep this guy shut up. And he goes, and he doesn't even know anything about Marshall McLuhan. And the guy turns around and goes, I know nothing about Marshall McLuhan. I happen to be a college member. And now Woody Allen goes, well, I happen to have Marshall McLuhan over here. And he just off camera. And the guy goes, you know nothing about my work. You don't know anything. And how you got to teach college of any sort is beyond. And then Woody Allen turns to the camera and goes, wouldn't it be great if life was like this? And that's how I felt. Like, am I going to be Woody Allen, come down off the ladder and just be like, you don't know, this happened in the Fantastic Four. It didn't happen in the Avengers, you know.
Yeah.
You know, because they were saying that the Avengers discovered the Inhumans, you know. And I'm like, that's not a nitpicky. That everybody knows that was Jack Kirby in the Fantastic Four. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was Jack Kirby. Yeah, I know that.
I'm like, how are these people I you know, if I was Jim Shooter, I would have been like, Go home and read. You take the day off, no pay, read comic books, and come back. We can't have this meeting if you're getting basic stuff wrong. At the very least, if you work for Marvel Comics, you should have Jack Kirby and Stan Lee memorized. I mean, at the very least.
you know, when I was listening to you and Ethan, like he is a very, very intelligent person.
Oh yes, yes.
When it comes to like the art of comic book storytelling.
Yes.
And it really struck me like, in a perfect world, which it will never be, he would be an amazing top editor. Really, because he could calmly, because he can keep his cool, calmly sit down and like explain why this doesn't work, what you could do better, change this from this to this. Because he's very technical as well,
right?
And I was like, man, if he was an editor for Marvel or DC, it'd be unstoppable,
right? What if Ethan's, the guy's talented, he's charming, the guy could play musician, you know, he could play instruments, he could do so many different things, and apparently he's a good businessman. But
yeah,
one of the things that I'm very impressed by, and I have to say, Richard C. Meyer, your boy Zach, you know, from Diversity Cop, they could explain their point succinctly and eloquently.
Yes.
And I also think, despite all the criticism, I think they're both very fair in when they judge something. You know, like Ethan, I could disagree with him, but I can't really argue with when he explains. And I think that would be a good editor. Like, this is why you shouldn't do this. This is why that's a bad story, or maybe you should move this over. And you're absolutely right. Now, I can't speak for the gentleman. I only spoke to him for an hour and a half. I don't know. Would he be interested in editing? I know not for Marvel or DC.
Not anymore. No.
That would be a pay cut, you know?
Yeah, he doesn't have to. Yeah, he doesn't have to.
Would he start his own comic book company and be the boss? I'm speculating. I think he would just be awesome at it.
He would. I think he would be freaking. I think he'd be one of the greats. Like, editor wise, I think he'd be one of the greats. I really do. Yeah. And it's because like you said, it's the communication that he can do.
He has the ability to communicate, which is, I'll go to work and I have different foremen, and I always joke with them when I say, oh yeah, the picture in my head is not the same as the picture in your head, so you need to explain it to me like I'm a child. Yeah. And they always laugh, and it's a nice way of saying I kind of don't, you know, you're not explaining well, you know.
Yeah, I remember you saying like you have to wrangle everybody, like explain what everyone's thought. Like, I'm kind of that guy with the group of friends, you know what I mean? Like, I'm the go. If someone's got trouble, you come to me, and then I'll talk you through it. You'll be okay, and then, you know, everything's gonna be fine. I'm the same way. I'm just a little on this whole YouTube thing. I'm just a little bit more stuttery. I'm a little bit more anxiety.
It's nerve-wracking. You know, you'll get there. You're doing fine. You watch my first couple of live chats. I was like, and I was talking over people, like interrupting them, and then, you know, so, you know,
it's always a work in progress.
Yeah, always a work in progress. Yeah.
So you said you're writing your own book. Do you mind? Could you tell us at least what, like, superhero genre? What kind of thing you doing?
Yeah. I love superheroes. I love, comics, obviously. So I came up with a superhero story. I came up with a superhero world, and this is what, again, Brian gets embarrassed when I say this, but Brian Bao, the creator of Wolf and Betsy from Alternative Comics, great, one of my favorite comics. I was bouncing my ideas off of him, and he said, for 2 weeks you've been telling me about this world, but you never told me about the characters. And when any criticism hurts, and you're like, oh
yeah.
But he was absolutely right. So I started telling him, I forget about the world. Here's the characters, and he's like, go with that. So I have my own superhero world, and I want to call it. I don't know if I should be telling, but it's going to be called Heroic Tales, and every issue is going to be a standalone. You could pick up this comic, you could read it. It's a contained story. But if you read 12 issues in a row, it's all set in the same world. There's a common thread going through it. You know what I mean? And then when I do the grand story, that'll also be standalone. But if you read all 12 issues or whatever issues, maybe 4, who knows, you'll get the Easter eggs and enjoy it more. At least that's
nice.
So
nice.
I had like a lineup of the way, and I realized I had to come out with a bang rather than a whimper.
Yeah.
So like the first character, I pushed it back, and now the first character is going to be like a Superman archetyped, but he's not Superman,
Right.
So
right.
He's very, very different. But the thing is, if you're going to be a superhero and you grew up reading comic books, you want to be Superman, even though his powers are different. He's nowhere near as powerful. And that's going to be one of the things, is one of the bad guys realizes, hey, this guy's not as powerful as he makes us think, so he's kind of causing a problem by pretending to be Superman, and then my second, I don't want to say the names just in case somebody.
No, you don't have to. Yeah.
The second issue is going to be somebody who, I hate the multiverse. I hate multiverse. I think it's a crutch. I think it's a get out of jail free card, like, how many Spider-Mans do you need? Because now, like to quote The Incredibles, if everybody's Spider-Man, then nobody's Spider-Man. So my second issue, if I get there, will be my take on why the multiverse is not the get out of jail free card. It's going to be a female superhero power who has the ability to basically rewrite reality.
Yeah.
And at first, it's the greatest gift in the world, but then she's going to realize that to change this, that means this changed. So every change that she does is unforeseen and sometimes horrible consequences. Mm-hmm. Like she's going to save somebody's life and then realized I should have let them die. Things like that. So and then I have a time travel story, because nobody gets time travel right. I'm the biggest nitpick in the world, and then I have a legit Superman guy, but this one I'm proud of. Like, just what happens when a superhero gets Alzheimer's disease? You know what I mean? So
nice.
He's legitly the most powerful superhero to ever walk the earth, and he has to be. He basically lives in a prison because so that's and then I could go on, and I'm all I'm doing is giving out my ideas, but I'm excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I got Renzo Rodriguez, who did The Impossible Stars. He liked my idea, so he's gonna write up like 8 pages or so, and then we're gonna, parade it around, see if people are interested, if people tell me to continue or not, and then we'll see where we go from there. But we just started like a week ago, so we're no.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I've been writing scripts and having a lot of fun, Oh, Brittany, she's talking about the multiverse, right?
Yeah. Brittany, Brittany and Matt agree on a lot of things.
So Brittany's also a comic fan.
Brittany's not like me. Yeah.
Okay, you got a Superman shirt on. Okay.
She's my Supergirl.
Okay.
So not like me, but she gets it. And she does like comic books. Her favorite's Batman. And she loves, we've been to all the movies together, as many as we could go together. And me and Matt, and so every time me and Brittany or me and Matt watch a movie, afterwards it's an hour discussion on how it could have been better, why this or that sucked, and what we would have done.
Yeah,
you know,
I do that while the movie's playing, and it drives my wife crazy. I
can't like.
This is such a bad choice. Why did they do this?
Me and Brittany will hold it.
An hour from now, this has to happen. You know.
Yeah. Well, I think. See, the thing is though. Okay, so I started doing that. Probably I'm 47. Probably in like my mid 30s. I started really because I actually have legitimate OCD. I have obsessive compulsive disorder, so which I think a lot of us collectors have. So if I didn't like something, I had to figure out why I didn't like it because I didn't want to make that same mistake as a creator.
Okay.
So I would spend. I mean, sometimes I'd reread something I didn't like. I'd reread it 3 times.
Well, you saw Alan Moore gave that advice, right? You want to become a writer, read bad books.
No, I didn't.
He literally said that. He goes, read bad books and then realize why it was bad and what you would do better.
Dude, I couldn't help myself.
You just came up with the same advice Alan Moore came up with. So there you go.
Yeah, I couldn't help myself. It would drive me crazy. And like there are books where it's okay, like as I was starting to move away from the mainstream, there's just less and less. It was a few years ago. It was less and less. And I would buy like a book, let's say like the Justice League, and it was Scott Snyder, where he just came off the New 52 Batman, which was mostly a huge mega success, which I loved, except for maybe the last volume or 2. It got really weird. And then Scott Snyder started writing JLA. And I'm a huge fan of Scott Snyder from what I had already read. And I'm reading it. And I'm like, why does this make me feel stupid? I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on. Like, so I get like, I start to get like self-critical. I'm like, am I an idiot? I truly wonder, like, am I stupid? Like, is this good and I don't get it? So I go and look up reviews. And then I see like everyone across the board was like, he must be getting paid for the word because this is insane. It was, I couldn't believe like what happened. Like you're a totally different writer. And I think he was trying to do some Grant Morrison stuff, which no one can do but Grant Morrison because he's insane.
I love Grant Morrison. He literally changed my life. You know, not even an exaggeration. But nobody.
Wait, I have to stop you. I heard you say that with Ethan. Can you tell me how? How did he change your life?
Okay. I was in my early 20s when Doom Patrol came out. So I was collecting Doom Patrol because at the time I was collecting everything by DC. And issue 19, Grant Morrison took over. I think it was Rolling from the Wreckage was the name of the story. And he started throwing in like Jack Kerouac quotes and beat poetry quotes. And at the last in the letters page, somebody suggested one of the letters like, "Oh, what are you reading?" You know. So I guess Grant in his egomania said, "This is what I'm reading." So I would start picking up those books, and because of Grant Morrison, I got into Jack Kerouac, and I read On the Road, and now I think I'm at 23, and one of my buddies had already left. He went to go live with his girlfriend out of state, and another buddy transferred colleges and moved out of state, and I was working at a pizzeria. I was a part owner of a pizzeria, and I just a little dissatisfied with life. And the pizzeria was doing really good. So part of me was like, is this my life? You know, the pizzeria is doing good. You know, I'm an Italian stereotype, Italian spinning pizza in the air, you know,
but you're not happy.
But this is, it wasn't that I wasn't happy. It was just like, is this it now for 40 more years? This, you know what I mean? Like there's going to be no changes. There's going to be no, and then the pizza, the co-owners, unbeknownst to naive me, he was a cokehead. And every day his wife would come after the lunch rush, after the dinner rush, and take the money. And I thought it was going to the bank, but it was going up her nose and going up his nose. Man. And then one day, I'm not even joking. I'm showing up, I'm putting on my apron, and Rocco and Rico, that was their real names, were in there roughing up.
That's fantastic.
And they turn around, they go, "Who's this?" And you know, to the my partner's credit, he goes, "Oh, he's just a delivery kid." So he goes, "Get out of here." And I said, "Okay, I'm just going to get my coat out of the back room." And I went in the back room. We had a secret vault, you know, hidden in the tile. I opened it up. I took a bunch of money because I knew it was going away.
Holy shit.
I stuck it in my pocket and I took my coat and I left. And I, went back the next day. The pizzeria was gutted. They took everything,
Wow.
You don't pay. So I was like, kind of like was kind of like happy in a way. I was a little relieved. And then I picked up my copy of Jack Kerouac and I said, goodbye, New York. And I packed up and I moved to California. And what did I do in California? I got a job making pizza.
Oh my God.
So I'm making pizza in California. And then I was like, I applied to school. I went to University of New Mexico. So I started college when I was 25. So I'm like the freshman who's older than everybody else, but I got a room by myself, and I took my studies seriously. And because I felt like I lost because everybody else was graduating college. You know what I mean? Yep. I'm not even joking. That was
figuring,
and then I got my beat. I read everything by Jack Kerouac, and it all started because of Grant Morrison, and then from there, I finished up my school. I became a school teacher. I moved back to New York. I was, and then I guess the third phase of my life started when I was like, I can't deal with the politics of teaching anymore. Like,
okay,
I don't want. I'll just get mad if I talk about how it wasn't the kids. It was the other school.
I know.
It was the politics of school teaching. Just so
Matt
became a construction worker.
Matt is a school teacher. Matt is, he's already. Matt. He knows. He absolutely knows.
And I can imagine if I was teaching right now. I mean, this was 25 years ago, and I quit teaching.
So 25 years ago, you were already like getting flared up.
It was miserable.
Holy shit! Wow.
I mean, the one story I'll tell is my principal used to keep visitors out of my classroom. First off, I was the only male teacher in the whole school, which is how I got the job because they wanted a male teacher. So that was good. But I was teaching a third grade, and I had the kids in rows. Over here was all math. Over here was all writing, and I would walk up and down the rows. And, the kids they were like a factory. They were just doing their work, whatever. And next thing you know, the door opens and it's the principal with these three. I called them the Stepford wives. It was these three women. They all looked like the same woman. They were from the Columbia University. And you could just see the principal had fear in her face, and she's looking at me. And they're walking around the room, and they're not saying anything. And then one of them goes, "Is this a fifth grade classroom?" And she's looking at the writing. I said, "No, this is third grade." She goes, "These kids write on a fifth grade level. And do you mind if I take pictures?" I said, "Take what? I got nothing to hide. Take whatever pictures you want." And they would, the math was third grade, but the writing was. So then she goes, "How come all these kids are in rows instead of cooperative units?" I said, do you work at a cooperative unit? I mean, do you have to hand in your own work? Does your paycheck depend upon what this woman does? And she goes, "No." I said, "So why are we teaching these kids? I don't see any other teacher in here helping me do anything. I got to do it on my own. Why are we teaching these kids to?" And then I go, and they hate it. So she just went and she looked at this little girl, and she's like, do you like sitting by yourself?" She goes, "Yeah, I have my own space." She goes, "He hits me." And she pointed to another kid, and there was another kid he had problems. He would sharpen his pencil and he would stab everybody with the pencils.
Oh.
So these kids loved sitting by themselves. She goes, "This is my space. Nobody bothers me. I get to, and they I was so grateful for this. And then she goes, "Wow, how do you get," another one goes, "How do you get these kids to write so well?" I said, "All that stuff that you give me from the Columbia University Teacher College?" She goes, "Yeah." I said, "I take it here. I put it on my desk. And then I throw it away on every Friday, and I teach the way the nuns taught me back in Catholic school." And they went, "You can't do that." I said, "Why? You just said my kids write on a fifth grade level."
Yep.
And she's like, "But I go, so what's important here? That I use your methods or that the kids could write well?" I said, pick one. I said, "Because if you're telling me that the kids shouldn't write well as long as they're using your methods, that's what I'll do." And they walked out, and the principal had me in the. I was I was in trouble more than the kids.
Oh my God.
And then I had a kid. I don't even want to get into that story. I was going to get myself worked up telling another, but that was teaching, and it was just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse.
I know, and and that was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
That could be a story. Maybe not now. It'd be a lot worse, but that could be a story 5 years ago. You know what I mean? That's crazy.
Yeah.
They've been sitting there.
I used to argue with. I said, we're teaching these kids conclusions. I said, we're not teaching these kids how to think. We're literally giving them assignments. This is what we want. Like I would, when teachers wouldn't show up, I'd take my free periods and I'd go to the 7th grade classes, and I'm looking at the homework. I'm like, why do you all there's 35 kids in the class. Why do you all have the same thesis? Why do you all have the same? She goes, well, this is what we were told to write. I'm like, no, tell me what you think. And they were like,
nope.
You know, so I would get in trouble with, administration. I'm like, it was nonsense. So I got when I was teaching, when I was taking classes to teach, I was like, my job depends on this. So I would be quiet. I'll be quiet. And it was funny because the teacher would call on me. She'd be like, John, you look like you have something to say. I'm like, you don't want to hear what I have to say. And it was funny because the story I always tell is we were reading a book called this is when I was taking classes to become a teacher. It was called the Elephant's Keeper, and it was set in World War II, and it's a heartbreaking story. If you read the story and you're not in tears, there's something wrong with you. But it's about the true story that the Imperial Japanese government said that they wanted to kill all the animals in the zoo in case the Americans bombed Tokyo. They didn't want lions and polar bears or whatever roaming the streets. Bad enough we're in a war, but we can't have, tigers and lions roaming the streets. So they will kill the animals. That's an unfortunate side effect of war, and the elephant couldn't die. They shot the elephant. The elephant was, not immune to the bullets, but it just hurt the elephant, poor guy. So they tried to poison it, but the elephant's sense of smell, he would literally take the potatoes and throw them away. So then finally they decided to starve the elephant. And the elephant keeper, I'm getting teary-eyed thinking about this freaking story right now.
Oh, man.
He's crying because he's watching the elephant, and the elephant's standing up doing its tricks. It's begging for food as it's starving, and then finally the elephant dies. Not a dry eye in the class, and rightfully so. And then what do you conclude? So the teacher's talking and everybody's raising their hand. One kid, these were all adults. This was graduate school. War is bad. I'm like, what? I'm going like this.
Oh my God.
That's what you get out of this freaking story. And then this one girl with earrings and this pierced, her hair's blue, shaved. Yeah, she looked like Nicolas Cage. There you go. I didn't realize you were there, Brittany. But
she's always
like, she goes, well, the Americans shouldn't have bombed Tokyo, and maybe these elephants would be alive. And I'm just like going, oh my God, and then of course the teacher starts laughing, and she goes, John, do you have a comment? And I'm like, we never bombed Tokyo. I said, or Kyoto. We never bombed this. It was set in Kyoto. I'm getting the town. I said, we never bombed Kyoto. I said, and second off, if he's so concerned about these animals, maybe the Japanese shouldn't have bombed America and started us into the war in the first place. Maybe they shouldn't have invaded. Maybe they shouldn't have invented World War II, and those elephants would have lived, and they wouldn't have starved. I said, that's, and everybody's looking at me like I'm horrible, but I'm like, I said, do any of you guys plan on teaching history, and you don't know anything about this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, worse than the Edison electrocuted. I'm an electrician, so yeah, we know about the AC/DC wars. That was horrible too. But anyway, this was the political front. I'm sorry, I'm talking too much.
No, dude, you're my guest. You get to talk however much you want. That's fine.
So
take the pressure off
this
of
was
me.
the political climate of teaching.
Yeah, and it hasn't changed, and it's only gotten worse.
Yeah, and I could get more politically charged, but I'm not trying to get apples and whatever it is they throw at people nowadays. You know what I mean?
No, I know.
But
I know.
So I became a construction worker, and at 2:30, 2:45, I don't think about work. I read comics on the train home. It's nice. I can't complain.
Awesome.
Except
That's
it's 100 degrees and I faint.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You have a right to complain at that point.
Yeah.
Listen, so my show is an hour, and
I'll tell you what.
Talk.
You got me going.
I tell you what. It's been great. It's been great hanging out with you, man. This is what I wanted.
Oh, this is what it feels like to be told stop talking. Oh, okay.
No, no. I wanted to meet you. I really wanted to meet you, and it's been great. If you're ever, if I can have you on again, you come tell more stories. Anytime. I hope so. I hope you had a good time. I did. If you ever need like some promo work, some artwork done,
thank you.
Just let me know. Let me know.
Is what I need.
And yeah, I actually shaved just for you. I showered and shaved just for my special guest John. So now we're friends. So so Brittany's gonna play a few more ads, and then if you want to just stick around for a few minutes, we can talk, and then we're good. All right?
Sure. I'll finish my burrito.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Thank you for having me on, and thank you everybody in the chat. Thank you.
I know, right? Good help is so hard to find.
Yeah, they just. Oh.
Did you just?
Something's not right.
I'm back.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Fan Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Huh? So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.
Visit cb4k.org.